Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Our meeting will begin momentarily. Please find your seats.
We've been working together on sustainability for some time now. Some of us before it was called sustainability. And we sometimes get asked, why are you still working on that? Or do you really think you're making a difference? To that, we tell them it's been pretty good for our business. It's pushing us to think differently, to innovate. We're working with new companies and organizations to achieve things we never could have done alone. We're doing it because it's the right thing to do, and our customers noticed. But our reason goes much deeper than that. With every farm we visit, every PO cut, every product you make, every trailer load shipped, and every product we stock on the shelf, we're proud to know that our actions help families across the globe have access to products that help them live better. We can say we're taking the extra time to dig into hard stuff, working with suppliers to help make products more sustainable, to source them from better places, and delivering them in a better way. In such a way that we hope our grandparents would be proud of us, in a way that our kids might look up to us, and in a way that future generations might be thankful that we did something. So when they ask us, are you still working on that? We tell them, we're just getting started. Will you join us? Saving people money so they can live better today and for generations to come.
Good morning and welcome to Bentonville. Thank you all so much for being here. It's great to see such a wonderful crowd of suppliers. We've got a lot of our associates in the room and online listening in. So we've got merchants from Walmart, Sam's Club, Jet.com, Moose Jaw, Shoe Buy, ModCloth, Hay Needle. Welcome to everybody. Thanks for tuning in. And all of our other guests, the nonprofits, the environmental NGOs we work so closely with, and many others. So thank you for being here today. To get us started with the Walmart cheer, could I invite up a few of our merchants who are also sustainability leaders in their own right. So Mr. Ken Lanchi, Ms. Julie Barber, and Mr. Corey Bender. Come on up, guys. Grab a mic, Ken.
Give me a W.
W.
Give me an A.
A.
Give me an L.
L.
Give me a squiggly.
Squiggly.
Give me an M.
M.
Give me an A.
A.
Give me an R.
R.
Give me a T.
T.
What's that spell?
Walmart.
Whose Walmart is it?
My Walmart.
And who's number one?
The customer always. Whew. All right, thank you. Great. Well, when we were planning this day, we thought, what a perfect week to have a meeting about an effort focused on emissions reduction, because this is the week of Earth Day Saturday. And it's also the week that we release our annual report and the companion piece to it, which is our Global Responsibility Report. That's going to be available online, so I would encourage people to take a look at it. It highlights our full sustainability program, as well as work we're doing in economic opportunity and community, sets out the metrics and reports our progress and some of the challenges we're having and so on. So please do have a look at that. And one of the features we've got for that this year is you can go online and you can tailor it for whatever issues you're interested in. So you can print out a unique report that just focuses on the topics that are of interest to you. So we'd encourage everybody to do that. So at Walmart, as you guys all know, sustainability is really core to our mission. We really, since day one of the company, have been a company that's about creating value for our customers and for our business and helping communities more broadly. And it all started with Sam Walton and just the whole concept of saving money to help people live better. That was addressing a deep societal need for access to affordable, great products. And it's no different today. We've been working on sustainability for a long time. And what excites us about today is it gives us a chance to accelerate progress and really take advantage of a couple of things we've learned along the way. So one of those is this concept of shared value. We find we make the most progress on sustainability efforts when we can address the challenges in ways that create value for business and for society. And that's really at the heart of the project we're going to talk about today. And, for example, when we doubled fleet efficiency, that was one of the things we worked on in the last 10 years. We ended up saving about $1 billion run rate just through that. So that's very important to us. The second thing that we learned is, back in 2005 when we set out our original goals, it was mostly focused on our own operations, renewable energy, eliminating waste, having good products. But we learned that obviously to deliver good products, we have to go back and work through the whole chain. So we learned that progress really requires collaboration all across the supply chain, deep collaboration with suppliers. And some of the greatest success stories that our company has been a part of have been ones that we've worked on in collaboration with many of you in the room. So that's really a big part of what today is about. I'd like to invite up a couple of folks who've been with us really on sustainability journey since back in 2005. Carter Roberts from World Wildlife Fund and Mr. Fred Krupp from Environmental Defense Fund. Could you gentlemen join me up here, please? So we're going to hear more details about what we're undertaking today. Before we dive into that, you guys have been working on sustainability pretty much your whole careers. You've seen the highs, you've seen the lows, you've had the opportunity to see the arc of progress over time. Knowing what we're about to embark on, what are your reflections on some of the headwinds and tailwinds that we face? What do you see at this moment in time, some of the unique challenges and opportunities for us that can either help accelerate us or that we'll have to contend with? Carter, why don't we start with you?
Well, I think one of the most obvious headwinds that we face right now is governance. It is uncertain governance in different parts of the world. You can imagine what those countries are right now. And the other one is the resource crunch that we see in different parts of the world. Whereas resources become more scarce, it's leading to uncertainty and instability in those societies. On the tailwind side, we are seeing enormous scaling up of renewable energy, with leading companies scaling that up and the price coming down. We're seeing consumers increasingly demand where they want to know where their products are coming from and how they're made. And we are seeing collective action on the part of companies, and increasingly part of the norm and expected that companies are going to act together to deal with these issues.
I agree with that. I think, Carter, you nailed it. The tailwinds of renewable energy, the price curve coming down is fabulous. The will is great. But I just want to also say, Kathleen, that one big tailwind is that Walmart now has a decade of experience of doing great work on sustainability. The commitment that this company has made, that Doug McMillon continues to make, is second to none. And what you've achieved so far is fabulous. You were the first retailer to set a goal, an absolute reduction goal for greenhouse gases, 20 million metric tons. You not only hit that goal, you hit 36 million metric tons. That's a tailwind right now because you have associates, colleagues, people who work in Bentonville, people who work elsewhere, who are committed and have experience at taking a big goal like Project Gigaton, which is an inspirational goal, science-based, and running with it. And you've also had experience working with suppliers, good people at Smithfield, Land O'Lakes, nonprofits like World Wildlife Fund, the Sustainability Consortium that can help measure, General Mills. I could go on and naming the companies. So that is a tailwind right now that makes this initiative so damn exciting.
Yeah. I think that's right. I would say 10 years ago, most of us in the room and our different companies were just getting started on work in this arena, and we've learned so much from the projects that we've undertaken. And what's exciting to me is looking at all the suppliers in the room and their own programs and commitments, all of the innovation that's there. And one of the hopes we have for this project is that we'll be able to unleash some of that and have some knowledge sharing across companies about what works, what doesn't, and perhaps even more than that. We had the opportunity this morning to meet with a few folks before this meeting, and it was interesting to see there may be opportunities in a pre-competitive way to do some really creative problem solving on some of the challenges we have. Someone talked about breaking through the prisoner's dilemma. Think about packaging. Who wants to move first to reduce their pack size? Probably no one. But if we all work together in a category, as we did in laundry detergent, a few years ago, we can actually make more progress by rewiring how we do things together. Same thing in supply chain. If we take an entire chain, tuna, or cocoa, and rethink it end to end, we have an opportunity to capture a lot of synergy and to move faster in a way that elevates all of us and helps us make progress on all the things we'll talk about this morning. Looking back on the successes of your own careers in the last 10, 20 years, what advice would you have for leaders of organizations and leaders of teams here in pursuing some of the projects that we're about to undertake? Fred, let's start with you.
I think the whole cycle is commit, execute, and scale. That's how we're going to solve a daunting challenge like climate change. And in that cycle, commit is really important. We have all know that when we set a big goal and commit, it inspires people, it gets people to innovate. So you've got that down, and today is a great day to celebrate that. But the advice I have is there's got to be a lot of focus on the execution and the scaling. And that's the hard work, the day-to-day work. That's the work that brought EDF to Bentonville almost a decade ago, because it's figuring out what needs to happen to make that commitment reality. And focusing on execution, I guess that's my main advice.
Maybe just a follow-up for you, Fred, on that. You've worked with so many companies. What sets apart the ones that have really made progress and succeeded from ones that have struggled? Is it the things you just talked about, or other things that you would highlight?
There's a lot of criteria. Leadership at the top is essential. We won't work with a company unless we see commitment at the top. And very early on, many decades ago, we had experiences where the rug could get pulled out of a very promising project if there wasn't a willingness to take some risks at the top. Ability to not only make big commitments, but then be transparent about measuring them. Have integrity in meeting them and being willing to fully disclose not only the successes, but also the obstacles, the problems that come up. That would be, a couple of the other ingredients.
Great, thank you. Carter.
Well, WWF has worked with a lot of companies here in the room, and as Fred said, we've seen many of the companies in this room make great progress, and then there's other examples where we've gotten stuck. And I have three kind of missives. One is to be bold, be innovative, and be collaborative. And the bold part is about setting targets that you may not know exactly how you're going to get there, but set targets. And from the top, and the fact that Doug is leading Walmart in setting this target, the 1 gigaton project, is huge. And then getting after that target in a serious way and making it part of the performance measurement of leadership throughout the company so that it really seeps down into the company and becomes real. The second is to unlock the genius of your employees. What we've seen, the great thing about the private sector is when you set targets, you get after it with a vengeance. And your employees have incredible ideas and innovation, particularly the ones at the front line. Providing them with incentives, providing them with rewards, highlighting the ones who are making a difference is huge. And then the last one is collaborative. I mean, the beautiful thing about today and the beautiful thing about this project is that all of you are here today. You've got one common goal. It's measurable. We know it's complicated, but it is sharing ideas like we did this morning, where companies learn from each other. They know how to take the science-based targets and make them real to tell a story that reaches down to your customer. And so at the end of the day, to me, it's all about setting targets, meeting them, beating them, and targets that protect your food supply, your water supply, protect the raw materials, and protect your communities and your children from the worst aspects of climate change. That's what this is all about.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Carter. Thank you, Fred, for being
Thank you.
with us. We really
Thank you.
appreciate
It's
your
a privilege.
partnership. We couldn't have achieved everything we have over the last decade without you guys, so thanks so much.
Thank you.
Take care.
So what's a gigaton anyway?
A gigaton is 1 billion tons.
Why does it matter?
Because emissions are polluting the earth.
Oh, like greenhouse gas emissions.
Oh. And that means the earth is getting hotter.
Ooh, that's hot.
That's bad. That's really bad.
Why would anybody want emissions?
Emissions are hurting people, animals, and the planet. I don't like that. We can do something about it.
I could do something about it.
You can do something about it. But what?
We can make and buy toys with smaller packaging.
Recycle. Like water bottles and paper.
Exercise more and drive less. Less traffic would make my mom and dad happy.
We can all work together to reduce emissions. Because it makes the planet happy. Because it's important to everyone.
Here's how you can help.
Because it's good for people
And animals.
Think of the children. It's good for business.
And it's good for your business too.
Together we can do it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. It is great to be with you guys today. That's a hard act to follow, isn't it? And those aren't just children actors that are somewhere in Bentonville. Those are children of associates. And many of those children are actually associates who are working hard on sustainability. And so you might see them around Walmart someday, Doug, working in the business and working in sustainability. We hope we hire them all. Well, I'm here to talk a little bit about what is Project Gigaton. You know, we've heard a little bit about it this morning. The kids tried to explain it. And I want to talk a little bit about what it is and why we're so excited about it. You know, back in November, Walmart relaunched our commitment to global responsibility at a Net Impact conference in Philadelphia. Doug gave a great speech where we outlined a lot of our new goals. Included in that were some of our new goals in sustainability. And one of the largest goals that we set then was our commitment, science-based, to reduce our emissions in our own operations, about 18% by 2025, and in our supply chain by a gigaton by 2030. And in fact, when we made that announcement in Philadelphia, Doug, you'll remember the audience clapped, because that's a really big deal. And that talks about the power of all of us working together to take on something that we can't do alone, but that can really create and drive big impact. So over the last several months, we've been working on how do we do that? What's the science, what's the math, what's the implementation and execution, Fred, to get the work done in Gigaton? And today, we're announcing really the toolkit for that, the process, and we're going to get started. So the elements of the program are what you see here. We've identified areas of work that we can work on together with our suppliers, with our buyers, our product development teams, our sourcing teams. All of us can work against these 6 areas. And these 6 areas are lots of areas that are very practical, and as Kathleen mentioned, really hit at the heart of this notion of shared value. When we work on things like energy efficiency, guess what happens? We save money. When we work on areas like fertilizer and agriculture, you're going to see later on the impact that we can make together working harder in that space. It's good for our business, and it's good for the environment. You know, waste is a challenge across the supply chain, whether it's food waste or packaging waste, and we can all take that one on and do a lot more there. deforestation a critical part to the puzzle to really helping us achieve our goals in climate. And finally, product use. There's a lot of great examples of things we can do to help customers actually save their own money by using less energy in their homes. All of these activities add up to one big goal, and that big goal is to remove together a gigaton of emissions out of the supply chains by the year 2030. Are you guys up for that? I think so. So how are we going to get started together? Well, first, we're launching a new toolkit today. And it's the first time we've done this, where we're taking our collective learnings over the past 10 years, and we're really sharing it with everybody. So it's an open source kind of created digital toolkit. There is a lot of great content. You can see it scrolling through a bit right now. We have just taken a lot of great work from partners that we've been working with for many years, lessons we've learned. How do you measure some of these things? What are some case studies? Some very practical steps on if you're just getting started or if you're way down the path. And we're making that public today on walmartsustainabilityhub.com. So we hope you'll take a look and be able to learn more about that. And we want you to share that. Share that with your teams. Share that with others that you work with because we want to bring everyone along on this journey. Merchants and buyers, this is for you too. You can learn for this tool and you can challenge your suppliers to do more by really letting them know where to find more information. Also, you can sign up to join us on Project Gigaton. There's a Join Us button, and that'll be really neat to really see how we engage everybody together. So that's what we're doing today. Project Gigaton is a big ambition. It's linked in fully in our strategy to create shared value, good for our business, good for our customers, good for the environment. It's part of our big ambition to be a leader in this space. And we're challenging all of you to come along with us. So today, we want you to sign up. We want you to join us together with Project Gigaton, and we'll be talking to you about that throughout the day. In fact, we have a green carpet experience. You'll hear more about that later. But as you commit today, we'll ask that you sign up, head to the back, sign up in the green carpet room, and really join us in taking on this challenge together. We believe it's the right thing to do, and we can really make a difference together that we're going to be proud of when we look back on today many years ago. So with that, I want to transition it over and invite up our chief merchant for Walmart US. And he's going to talk to us a little bit about why this matters from a merchant point of view, a supplier point of view, and how this work really fits into our strategy of being great merchants. So help me introduce and welcome to the stage Steve Bratsby's. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura. Good morning, everybody. Welcome. So glad to see so many of you here. Many of you in the audience are hearing about Project Gigaton and saying, okay, so what does this mean for my business, right? How should I really be thinking about this and how I do business with Walmart every single day? Why should I focus on this? So a number of you attended our Supplier Growth Forum back in February, where you heard about kind of what our merchandising strategic priorities are and how we're going to run the business. And we have priorities that our organization is completely aligned against that are going to continue to drive the company strategy, but fundamentally drive growth for us and continue the positive momentum that we've been having in the marketplace. So we want sustainable growth. We need sustainable growth. In order to do that, we believe we need to continue to exceed our customers' expectations. We can't deliver on these priorities unless we are fundamentally customer-centric. And our customer, your customers, are becoming more demanding every single day. Not only do they want the right quality of an item at the best price, but many of them, more and more, they want to know how that product is made, where it comes from, what ingredients are in it, and they want to understand how their buying decision, the choices that they make, are going to impact the environment as a whole. And we also know that customers, especially millennials, they are going to recognize and reward companies that do this the right way, that are socially conscious. And we need to be out in front of that as we go forward. So sustainability for us in merchandising, it's not a once-a-year focus. It's not something that we gather together and say, okay, today's Sustainability Day, today we're going to focus on it. We talk about and think about this every single day. It's definitely part of the buying decisions that we make because it's what our customers expect of us. So every time you're talking to our buyers and every time our buyers are talking to you, I want you guys to be talking about how you're going to be reducing product and packaging waste. talking about how you recycle products and how you think differently about recycling, how the technology of that is advancing. How we're making progress on using less energy and being more efficient. Removing ingredients that customers don't want in products. I think that's the next horizon of a lot of things in sustainability. Customers are going to be more choosing of the products that they have. They want you to take the negatives out. They don't want those in their products, and we need to be thinking about that and building for that future right now. Now, together, I think we're making some really amazing progress. It's all of it for the customers who walk through our doors every day and shop us online across all our different platforms every single day. But putting the customer first, always putting the customer first, is what we do. And when we do it well, we continue to have success. We definitely know we have a lot more work to do. This is a whole new launching off point for Project Gigaton. But I think you should all be really proud. I know I'm proud of what we've already accomplished together. It's a journey. We're not there. We have a long way to go, but we've done a lot of really great things. So what we wanted to do today a little bit is share with you some of that progress, share with you some great stories from companies that have worked with us to make a really positive impact and make a difference. They made better products, they've increased efficiencies, they've reduced emissions, they've reduced waste, all helping our communities and serving our environment better. So listen to their stories. And my challenge to you is to take back to your company, what can you implement based on what you learned, right? What are you going to do differently based on what you learned today? And hopefully next year, what's your story that you're going to be able to tell with Walmart because we moved the needle pretty dramatically together. So to get started, I think, Sean, I'll turn it over to you. Thank you.
You know, John, addressing food waste would be a great way to actually come back and cut costs and reduce emissions. People always say, how much waste is there? Well, the sad fact is that over a third of the food that's produced or grown never makes it to anybody's table. And so if we were to look at the carbon equivalent of that, it's about 3.3 gigatons, which is an enormous number. If it was a country, it would be the third largest right behind the United States and China. And I know Kellogg has a long tradition of doing a great job at reducing food waste, so I wonder if you wouldn't mind sharing a few tips with some people in the room that want to make more of an impact.
Absolutely, Sean. As you say, food waste is a major opportunity for the entire industry. So the way we need to approach this is in a holistic, end-to-end approach, all the way from the farm to the family. So we're working in 4 broad areas across that entire supply chain. Firstly, working back on the farm. We have a commitment to implement climate-smart agricultural practices across about 500,000 farmers. Here's an example of a program in Arkansas, some local rice growers in reducing post-harvest loss. Then once the grain comes into our facilities, engaging our employees to help us reduce waste. We have a goal of reducing waste within our plants by 15% by 2020, and that will reduce greenhouse gas emissions by about 100,000 metric tons. And then as we move on the supply chain, we want to make it easier for our consumers. By using a consistent code labeling system, the best before dates enable our consumers to see when food is still safe to consume and appropriate to consume so that they make the right choices in the home. And then finally, unfortunately, some food does get close to code date, and in those cases, we work with Walmart and Feeding America to get it to consumers who need it the most when and where they need it. The goal is to reduce food waste as much as possible through the system.
Very good. You also mentioned that it actually does cut your cost, which is a great thing for business, right, as you go through it. Would you mind sharing just a couple more spots around how that cost then translates into you being able to share it with your customer?
Absolutely. So even within our plants alone, the goal that we had, the 15% reduction, is actually a $30 million opportunity. That's a major opportunity for us, a major opportunity for our consumers and for society in general.
Very good. Well, that's very encouraging. And I think working together, the sky's the limit for what we could do around waste and cost and emissions. So thank you, John.
Thank you.
At Walmart, we love talking about saving money. We love translating that into lower prices for our customers. We love talking about operating more efficiently. Energy is core to that conversation. Over the last decade, we've partnered with GE, and more recently, Current, the platform powered by GE, to design lighting both inside and outside of the store. That lighting, quality, efficiency is remarkable, incredible. Of the projects which are economically efficient, we've executed 50% of those. We've got a long way to go. As those prices and that efficiency continues to improve, that runway increases. But I'm proud to say we're saving $89 million annually with that program, equivalent to roughly 100,000 cars of GHG emissions are off the roads based off of that reduction in carbon. But along the way, GE has been the partner for us in developing that. Mary Rose, can you talk to us a little bit about how GE has leveraged this same approach in their operations and how Current helps the supply chain to do the same?
Great. First, thanks for having us here today, and we're so proud of this relationship we have with Walmart and all that you've done and the trail you're blazing, because we know when Walmart leads, everybody follows, and we think what you're doing is great for Walmart, for your customers, for your communities, for all of your stakeholders, and we're doing the same thing at GE, right? We're bringing Current, the power of Current, to all of our buildings in GE. We start with becoming very energy efficient, LED on-site power, which is part of our platform to help us reduce our energy consumption by 50-ish%. But then we really work on bringing our digital IoT platform through the power of the LED and really help us connect all of our energy consuming and producing resources to really optimize what happens later to get that next step in energy efficiency, and then bring in other productivity apps to help drive incremental productivity so that we have a platform every year to make GE more energy efficient, more productive, and help GE really what we call see the unseen, see the potential of the future. But like anyone in the room, we're really just getting started and taking advantage of this technology. I always travel with my LED lighting wherever I go here on this table, but this is one of the platforms we use here across all of your parking lots. And this LED is made in Hendersonville, North Carolina. We've changed all the lighting to LED, took out 50% of our energy costs, but we digitized the whole factory. So we now have this combination of LED and IoT that makes all of our workers as productive as they can be.
Great. One of the challenges that we run into, people say, okay, GE, Walmart, large companies, got plenty of OpEx, plenty of CapEx, but we're smaller. Energy's not our core. How do you respond to that challenge when they don't necessarily see the focus there in terms of available OpEx and CapEx?
You know, every customer we work with, like Walmart, like GE, has the same problem. We're working in a very competitive world, a very disruptive world. Technology is changing fast, and we're all fighting for relevancy and to stay in business and stay competitive and beat competition and drive outcomes for our customers. So what we've learned is we have to figure out new ways to help customers get more for their money and for their customers. So what we've really been thinking about is it's not a technology issue any longer. I mean, the technology's here. You can get great savings from LED, from solar. It becomes a business model challenge, and some people talked about this morning. So we had to figure out how do we bring different business models to customers so they can take advantage of this technology faster, allow you to start saving money from day one with new models like finance solutions, let you go from a CapEx to an OpEx model if capital is what's standing in your way. And for many customers, it is standing away from going from where they are today to entitlement. And the reason I think this is so important, there's 6 million commercial buildings in the United States. Our commercial buildings consume 50% of the country's energy and generate 50% of the emissions in the US. The typical commercial building wastes 30% of its energy. 30% is huge. Who in your personal life will let you waste 30% of anything, right? Our incomes are too valuable and we have better things to do. So if we can get at this and we can take this and just reduce it by 10 points, we can save $40 billion of energy across the country and take the equivalent of 50 million vehicles off the road. So there's huge potential with new models.
Thank you. I appreciate your partnership on technology and financial structures. Challenge to you. Think about how you use energy. Think about how you manage energy. It's a triple line effect. You can use Current as a partner to think through changes, but it improves your P&L, improves the environment, and the affinity of the customer and your associate, your employee, to your product or your service is improved in terms of delivering the sustainability associated with it. Thank you.
We really need to stop deforestation for our business, for the planet, and most importantly, for the generations to come.
Forests play an exceptional role in the fight against climate change. There's more carbon stored in forests than there is in the entire atmosphere. Forests absorb carbon and they store carbon. And without the protection of tropical forests, we don't stand a chance of actually reaching the targets that we have to reach if we're going to reduce the impact of climate change.
We're making significant progress, but in order for deforestation to end, we really need to work together now.
The only way we're going to succeed is if companies that have the scale and the ambition of Walmart lead the way. We're losing our forests at a devastating rate, 13 million hectares per year. That's equivalent to the size of Greece. The most cost-effective way to deal with CO2 emissions is to reduce deforestation.
We want to gain our customers' trust, and we know that they want to buy products that don't contribute to deforestation around the world. We really want to recognize those suppliers that are now sourcing their products from sustainable forests. Working on deforestation is tough and challenging, both for the retailer and the suppliers, but some of the toughest things are most important.
A gigaton of CO2 is a very, very large number. And for one company and its family of friends and suppliers and associates to take out a target like that is a type of ambition that we need if we're going to be successful in preventing climate change on this planet.
Good morning. Steve mentioned it, but packaging. Packaging is really important to us as a retailer. It's important in how we merchandise product. It's important because we know that small changes can make a big difference. It makes a difference in emissions. It makes a difference to our customers in how we save them money. Another thing that's important to our customers is recycling. And they've told us that it's important to them, and they want to know more about how to do it. So, Case, tell us how Unilever is helping them.
Thank you, Latrice. And for sure, you know, if you think about packaging, you first think about this fact is that if we continue to do what we are doing now, by 2050, there will be more packaging in the oceans than there will be fish. And for sure, as us as an industry, we are absolutely, as fast-moving consumer goods industry, responsible for that. And that's why we as Unilever, we have given an absolute commitment that by 2025, 100% of our packaging will be either recyclable, reusable, or compostable. And that is not a very easy task, but it's absolutely fundamental for our industry. And so when we start to think about it, there's actually three fundamental parts which needs to be there. The first one is the infrastructure, and that is why all together we've signed up for the Closed Loop Fund. The second part is that our packaging needs to be able to be recyclable. And so this is one of the examples which will come on the screen now, which is Caress, where we just 10% in the last relaunch, 10% less packaging. Already that by itself is £385,000 which you save. We always use at Unilever the Ben & Jerry's and the Dove examples, but you see is that it is absolutely widespread in the totality of our portfolio as we commit to our 100% most creating all of our products recyclable, reusable, or compostable. And so when you have both two levers already in there, the first one is the infrastructure through closed loop, and the second part is this, the ability to recycle. You then need to have the third part of it, and that is how to recycle, the awareness, the behavior, and the mindset of our consumers. And that is why indeed today we are also again partnering up with the How to Recycle organization, so that truly as an organization and as an industry we can drive the three legs of how we change and make recyclable really at use here in America.
Thank you, and thank you to Unilever for joining us in our efforts in how to recycle. I'd also like to recognize other companies who are joining us and committing today to how to recycle. Campbell Soup Company, Church & Dwight, Hinkle, Nestle Waters, Ocean Spray, Reckitt Benckiser, and Unilever. Thank you all so much. Packaging is something that we can all do, and we hope that each of you will consider joining us in our efforts in how to recycle to improve recycling for our customers. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Scott Neal from the meat and seafood business. Next up, we have a short video about fertilizer and its impact on agriculture and climate emissions. But before we get to that, first I'd like to thank the leadership of Smithfield, Kenneth Sullivan, who has led one of the largest livestock companies in the world to make absolute and set absolute targets about emissions reductions. What does this mean? Through the Scope 3 measurements, they were going to reduce their emissions by 25% by 2025 across everything from packaged bacon to feed. So again, thank you, Kenneth Sullivan and the whole Smithfield team for making these goals. As we look at reducing our emissions, we're going to have to reach further back into the supply chain, and we're going to have to set massive, audacious goals to get there, and this is one of the first steps to do it. So, and Smithfield, in setting the bar for everyone else, really sets a target for all of us to reach to. So why don't we get to the video?
Nitrogen fertilizer fuels crops, but it's costly for farmers and our environment.
Nitrogen in the wrong place can cause problems in surface waters and groundwaters in the air.
And it also emits a really potent greenhouse gas called nitrous oxide that's 300 times more powerful than carbon dioxide.
So Walmart set an ambitious goal.
Walmart had a goal to reduce 20 million metric tons of greenhouse gases from their supply chain. What they found, surprisingly, was that fertilizer was actually a huge hotspot for them.
And that was a big aha, as big as a footprint as we have. You'd think that's where the impact is, but no, it's upstream.
Walmart engaged its suppliers on fertilizer use, and Smithfield Foods stepped up.
Smithfield thought it'd be a really good idea to have an optical sensor so that as you drive across the field in real time, you're getting variable rate nitrogen.
And help farmers learn new techniques.
A cover crop is a crop that you would not harvest, but is simply planted for the sake of ground cover and benefit to your future crops in your rotation.
By introducing these multi-species cover crops, you're reducing nitrogen, you're reducing runoff, you're reducing chemicals, and all that's good.
The next step? More help for more farmers.
This whole process that we're going through is where we'll have to be. And if we don't embrace this now, we're going to be so far behind. So we've got to find these nuggets that we can fix, that we can scale, that we can move on with.
EDF shows our corporate partners what's possible. We bring with us the science and the expertise to understand the big issues so that we can prove that it has great environmental and business benefits.
At Smithfield Foods, we've proved that sustainability, if done properly, doesn't cost money. It actually saves companies money.
I'm Greg Hall. I get a chance to work in our entertainment business, and I'm excited about what sustainability does to help our customers save money. One, we get a chance to save them money twice. First off, when they buy the products from us, we save them money. But also, if you think about how many products we sell that have a plug or a battery, as our customers take it home, and as we think about making it more energy efficient, we can save customers money as they're using the product. One of our great partners is HP that's been leading the way in this, and Christoph's here to share with us a little bit of what HP is doing in that area.
Okay, Greg, thanks a lot for having me. So at HP, we are super proud about the continuous improvements that we see on sustainability. And I think it was mentioned before, I think one important piece of that continued progress is to set really bold goals. And so we set a goal for our enterprise, and the goal is that we will design product with a GHG emission intensity reduction for our portfolio of 25% by 2020 as compared to where we were in 2010. So this means that we have to design, build, and ship products with that goal in mind across all the portfolio that we have. And there's a particular focus, as you said, on energy efficiency.
That's awesome. And I love the work that you're doing there, Christoph. Is there any specific product that you're especially proud of?
There are many products, but I think there's one that you actually sell, so thanks a lot for that.
Thank you for
it's making
the
DeskJet 3752, and it's a small all-in-one product, typical consumer printer. What I love about the product is we designed it 1.5 years ago, and it was really designed to be energy efficient. And so what we were able to accomplish is that in sleep mode, this product consumes approximately 30% less than its predecessor. And if you think about this at a global level, what does this mean? This is the equivalent of taking 500 cars off the road for 1 year. And these 500 cars, they drive approximately 5.5 million miles in that 1 year. And I think when we speak to our teams, that's the picture we like to use. Based on this product, we got an award. In 2017, we got an energy efficiency award on that. And I think it's a great recognition for the entire team at HP, also at Walmart, because you pushed us to focus, but then also the entire ecosystem on how we manage the production hubs that we have and also the supply chain.
Christoph, that's awesome, and thank you so much for what you do and what HP does. And I would encourage everybody listening to this that if you make a product with a battery or a plug, that can be a coffee pot, it can be a printer, it can be a power tool. Think about how that product can use less energy when it's in use in the home. And thank you so much for that. 6 great stories that I'm proud to be a part of. And I'm going to turn it over to Greg Foran, where he's going to tell us a little bit more about some of the successes. Thank you all so much. Thanks.
Thank you. I'm going to invite some guests up on stage, and they've been with us this morning, and they represent companies that have been working with us at Walmart on a range of sustainability initiatives for many years. Not only are the organisations key suppliers in important categories for us and our customers, but they are sustainability leaders in their field. And they're here today to announce some new initiatives. New commitments that their companies are making in an effort to reduce emissions. The results achieved by these initiatives are going to go a long way towards reaching the goals of Project Gigaton. So without delay, let's begin. So if I can call everyone up on stage, please, who's coming. Jeff, can you come up, please? Ian, Matt, Keys, David, and Jay. So, David, maybe if I can begin with you and when we can make our way along the line.
Well, great. Well, thank you, Greg, and it's an honor and privilege to be with you here today and to talk about our commitments and goals as we look down the road. A couple years ago, when our CEO, Rick Smith, was at a meeting like this, he mentioned if you open up a dictionary and flip to sustainability, you're likely to see a picture of a dairy farmer. And it's that foundation of stewardship and conservation and care for their animals, as well as some of our recent initiatives that really leads us to some of the goals that we're talking about today and that we're aspiring and will have plans to achieve. And then we look at the strong dairy presence even on this stage. It really shows how dairy can be a big part of the environmental and sustainability solutions that we all face, and we're excited about that. Specific to our commitment, it's fairly simple. We're going to work hard to take many million metric tons of carbon out of our supply chain, working with our dairy farmers, our 8,000 dairy farmers across the country to do that, and working with them really in 3 foundational ways. One is through our Gold Standard Dairy Program or other evaluation programs, to be able to continue to work with members on continuous improvement around animal care and housing systems, nutrition and feeding systems for the animals, genetics programs that continue to make their operations more efficient from one year to the next. Also working in the area of technology and the adoption of technology on farms that can help them better manage individual animals and then use that data in a productive way to make better decisions on their operations. And then the third area that we're really excited about is the work that we're committed to do to accelerating advanced manure management systems, including things like anaerobic digesters that can really be a great asset in terms of sustainability, whether it's from reducing carbon emissions on dairy farms, generating renewable green energy on dairy farms, and being receptacles for food waste from retailers or other outlets that have a multifaceted approach to sustainability. So really with those 3 aspects of our program, we're excited to be a part of this commitment. We thank you for your leadership and really the desire to work with farmers on this journey. Thank you.
Thanks, David. Ian, over to you.
Yeah, well, Colgate began its first sustainability strategy and goals at the turn of the millennium, and 17 years later, if we could see the first slide, or not. Oh, here it is. Goals we established in 2015 about reducing carbon emissions were approved by the Science-Based Target Initiatives, and those goals were in 3 areas: greenhouse gas emissions from our factories, increasing consumers' awareness about water conservation, and then increasing the recyclable content in our packaging. And if you go to the next slide, given that with our type of products, about 85% of our carbon footprint is in how consumers use and dispose of our products, we've been putting a particular focus on water conservation and the impact it has on the supply chain and the energy required to pump, treat, and heat water. And how we do that, if you go to the next slide, is that we convey that message on 8 billion toothpaste tubes every year, which go into 2/3 of the households on the planet, and support that with social advertising with a message as simple as turn off the tap. And the learning from that is not only does it provoke consumers to think about that one act, it has them think more broadly about sustainability and engage with us more directly against all of the goals we're working against. And so the learning there is that an emotionally engaged consumer is a powerful force for change.
Thank you very much. Jeff.
Yes, well, thanks for having us. And look, at General Mills, we believe that big, complex problems, and climate change is a big, complex problem, requires big thinking, and it requires big companies, and it requires really broad collaboration, which is one of the reasons we're glad we're here today. But it's also what led us in 2015 to pledge to reduce our carbon footprint by 28% across our whole value chain. And it's important because 50% of greenhouse gas emissions involved in our supply chain, and 99% of water usage occurs beyond the 4 walls of General Mills. So it requires collaboration. And that's why we were proud that we were one of the founding partners, along with Walmart, of the Midwest Row Collaboration Agreement. It's why that we work with the Nature Conservancy on developing a 10-step soil map roadmap. It's why we have worked with growers of wheat to establish a perennial wheat, not an annual, perennial wheat called Kernza, that really helps save the soil. And it's also why we're glad to be here today to further that 2015 commitment, and as a part of that, pledge a 5 million ton reduction in our greenhouse gases as part of this Project Gigaton, and we're thrilled to be continuing to work with Walmart, and we view it as very important.
Thank you.
So at Unilever we can actually double that. So what we commit is to do 10 million of reduction in emissions, and that is focused to be able to create 15 million acres of cover crop. And we all know is that if anything is that to make sure is that we go to a regenerative real economy, is that it is all about what we do with the cover crops in our agriculture. And I think is that what I am so excited about is that not only is it in the individual lines like agriculture, but is that we, both in our Unilever Sustainable Living Plan and Walmart with the Project Gigaton, we take responsibility for the totality of the end-to-end reality. And I think that is the big thing and the big news about today. We have a commitment of 2030 actually to be carbon positive, and therefore everything what we do through the 6 pillars which you drive Project Gigaton on will actually help us to be able to achieve that, and that is still to get to carbon positive by 2030.
Impressive. It's obvious that the way we can get there, Doug, is we create a competition. It sounds like Kay's is up for it.
All right, so speaking of competition, maybe we'll just go faster. How about that? At Kimberly-Clark, we've been thrilled to work with Walmart over these years here. you know, it's in our DNA in this space here. As we drive leading the world in essentials to make lives better, make our planet better. It is in our DNA, and we've been a leader in forestry certification in that area, and you'll hear that later on today. And we do talk about that, and we're proud of that relationship with FSC, with WWF. But one thing we don't talk about that much is our reduction in greenhouse gas work and what we've done. And we've actually had success over the last 10 years here since we set some goals in reducing science-based reduction of 10% in those 10 years here in greenhouse gas reduction. And for the first time here today, we are publicly saying and committing to, in 5 years now, doubling that. Okay, so by 2022, which happens to be the year we turn 150 years old as a company, we will have doubled that from that baseline to a 20% reduction here and accelerated that progress that we're making in reducing greenhouse gases. And one of the things I love that Carter talked about was, you know, there are all kinds of business reasons to do this, right? And there's so much money in doing this, right? But one of the things that we really see is the passion it drives in our employees, and how much they love us caring about this area and putting money behind this area and working in this area. And it makes a huge difference in us being able to then deliver in this area. So thank you for allowing us to play.
Well, thank you. Matthew?
Well, Greg, if I'd have known it was a competition, I would have tried to sit on that end of the stage and made this less painful for our company. But I would like to thank Greg, you and everybody at Walmart, not only for the opportunity to participate today, but also for the support of our dairy farmers and our dairy foods business on the store shelves. It's meant a lot to us. And I do want to talk just briefly about Land O'Lakes, as we are a little more than just the butter company you know us as. We actually have two other operating business units besides dairy, which is animal nutrition and feed, which is in our Purina group, as well as our business on Winfield United, which the video from Smithfield really hits home with crop productivity. And what we do there is on the seed side of our business, as well as other inputs and technologies that Winfield United provides farmers. So that passion and that enterprise approach is really what led us to really get involved with sustainability and really our farm to fork view that we have. So in 2016, in August of 2016, our company launched a fourth business unit, which is Land O'Lakes Sustain, which myself and a lot of my colleagues here represent. And we were really excited to be able to bring that opportunity and continue our effort, not only in our four walls of Land O'Lakes with our supply chain, but outside with our member owners at the farmer and ag retail level. So our commitment today is to, as Land O'Lakes, is to commit 10 million metric tons of greenhouse gas reduction over this time period, and really doing that in both of our platforms of, first, our crop productivity, and getting on 20 million acres of enrolled acres into our Land O'Lakes Sustain agronomy platform, which really is about optimizing fertilizer, which Greg's pretty important to all of you as greenhouse gas emissions through fertilizer optimization is a key hot spot for the supply chain. The second piece is on our dairy side, where we will work with our farmer members on their dairy supply and ensure that 100% is member assessed and that we have the correct actions taken as we move to the future. And we're really excited about what that means for not only the greenhouse gas emissions of 10 million metric ton reduction, but also for what also occurs in soil, in the water quality, and then also water usage. So in behalf of all of our member owners and employees, we'd like to thank Walmart. We also want to thank our NGO partners, particularly the Environmental Defense Fund, for all the help that they've provided us in going down this journey, and a big thanks.
Well, thank you. I've had the opportunity to tour a number of your facilities about a year ago and could see all the things that you're talking about coming to light. You know, as I sit here, I reflect back on that wonderful video of the children that you showed and think about what that was like, 45 or 50 years ago. And, at some stage we were all that age, and if someone had a conversation like that, it just didn't really exist. I can remember the conversation when I was about that age was putting a man on the moon and looking out. And as I reflect on that video and I reflect on this discussion, here we are, almost 50 years later, saying, actually, we're more interested about what we've got to protect internally. And I think that's sort of a refreshing way to look at things at times. You know, the commitments that we're making here, they do represent a pretty meaningful effort to reduce emissions. And I think they also demonstrate that as we all work together and join together, we can actually make a pretty significant impact. And it's not only great for the environment, but I think all of us have heard that it's pretty great for our business as well. So thank you very much for your commitments. Thanks for coming down today and participating in a session that we had earlier on this morning. Proud to be working with you and proud to work together on this target. Thank you. Doug, I'd like to welcome you to the stage to bring us home.
Thanks. Good morning. I want to start by thanking everyone for being here. Thank you for your interest in this subject. Thank you for putting your passion and energy against the work that we're doing. This is a big target. It's a gigaton. I had to look it up. How big is it? It's 1 billion tons. That's a big number, even on a Walmart scale. And the objective that we've set is to achieve it by 2030. And what I'm afraid of is that my career's not going to last that long. So could we do it faster? A number of you may make it as I look around the room, but I'm pretty sure I'm not going to make it. So let's get this done. We've beaten a number of other targets in terms of the timing that we've set. Laura, let's beat this one too. We are on a journey. When I think about sustainability, I clearly see it as a journey, not only professionally, but personally. And we really started ours in the age of Katrina in 2005. This picture is familiar to a lot of us. It's a number of Walmart trucks trying to get into the New Orleans area to help during the flooding that happened in that market. And it inspired us to think about how we could use the scale of the company for good. And there were a number of people, Lee Scott, Rob Walton, Peter Seligman from Conservation International, and Jib Ellison, that were really at that spark of a moment that got us started. And Jib's somewhere here today. Where's Jib? Jib, would you stand up for just a second? Jib started a business called Blue Sky, and we called on him to come in and advise us on how we could make this transformation. And when the first meeting got called, Lee Scott said, come over and talk to us about sustainability and meet this guy named Jib Ellison. I brought my P&L because I thought when I heard the word sustainability that I was going to have a P&L review and discuss the sustainability of the company financially. It was right. Turns out all these years later, this is very much related to the financial sustainability of the company and the overall sustainability of the company. Jib started educating us. He asked us questions. He made us think about things. John, he would hand us books to read. I'm a fairly action-oriented person. Walmart's an action-oriented company. So we started wanting to do things, Case. And I remember in those first few weeks and months going to Jib and say, okay, I got it, let's go. And he would say, no, read another book. Okay, so that goes on, and at one point I came back and said, okay, I got it, let's go. And he said, no, go home and talk to your family about this, which I had not done. And at that time, Shelley and I had 2 little kids, little boys, and I was sitting down at dinner with them, and I thought, I'm going to check this box so that Jib will let me go do stuff. I'm going to have this conversation. And I talked to those 2 little boys and started trying to take what I thought was a complex subject and simplify it so that I could get feedback. And it went something like, do you guys think the company I work for, Walmart, should be working on sustainability? And my youngest son's response was, duh, yeah. We're going to need this planet, and you guys should be working on it. And that pretty much ended the conversation. But I wanted to thank you, Jib, today, because every time we have one of these moments, I think about you and I think about the influence that you had. And I think the significance of the approach that he and the others took, Don, was to get us not only mentally but emotionally connected to this subject. And then as a company, once we figured out, hey, this is actually good for the P&L and it feeds on itself, it's, eliminating waste is good for our business financially. We started selling cardboard instead of throwing it away. This thing just kind of caught fire. And that's why we're here all these years later, and we've accomplished a lot together, but we're still setting targets together because it actually is really good for business in addition to being good for people. So the challenge I would have for a lot of you today is if this is something that you've gotten from the neck up, what can you do to help yourself connect and others around you connect in a way that's broader than just intellectually understanding it? As it relates to the progress that we've made, we're proud of the Midwest row crop initiative that a number of you have joined us on to help generate more sustainable farming practices around the world, including here in the U.S. for large and small companies. We're proud of the target that Fred mentioned earlier, reaching these greenhouse gas numbers ahead of schedule and in a bigger way than we'd originally planned was terrific. It makes me feel old because, I lived most of my life with incandescent light bulbs. And then when we converted to CFLs and we tried to get all these customers to buy CFLs, that felt like a big transformation, Tony. And now we're going through another cycle with LEDs. Cycle times are faster. We're getting older. I mean, we may have a new technology from GE next week that helps us save even more energy. But these LED bulbs are 75% more efficient than those incandescent bulbs that many of us grew up with. That's a big deal. All this stuff adds up. This morning, you've heard we had some time together with a number of people and are seeking advice on how we use the size and scale of Walmart and these relationships we have to make more progress. There were a lot of good nuggets that came out of those discussions. A couple of them that really resonated with me were related to the back end and the front end. On the back end side, this encouragement to continue to set aggressive targets when we can, Carter, tie them to a science-based approach to the bigger objective that we have around the world of slowing this increase in temperatures that we're seeing that is causing harm to our planet, endangering the future of our children and grandchildren. And then celebrating those that make progress. Part of today is to celebrate those that are working on this every day. On the front end, the story that Ian told about the toothpaste really resonates with me. Did all of you use toothpaste this morning? Hopefully. So it affects all of us. And a little thing like sending a message about turning the water off around the world does plant a seed with people that resources are scarce. And so we all need to be looking for those interactions. Brian from Hasbro told a story about those old wires that they used to put on toys to secure them to the package that frustrated us all, and how they've moved to a paper rattan approach there. There are all these places where there are touch points with customers, with parents, with human beings. And if we can somehow replicate those over and over again in a way that's more personal than just the mathematical or science-based approach to this, we will gain more traction with consumers around the world. And for Walmart, I'm worried that over these years, together with you, we've made really good progress on shaping systems together, and the customers still don't understand what we've done. And our reputation matters to us, and people do think big is bad. All of us are kind of wired in some ways to think that way. So we need to find these human touch points, and if any of you have ideas on what we can be doing to communicate more effectively with people around the world in Walmart or in your own companies, let's do those things together, because people need to know, Sandy, that we're doing good work and that we have the best of intentions. It's amazing how people misunderstand or don't have the right perception about the people that are running these businesses and how good the intentions of all of us are, and we need to make more progress on that. Now, one of the ways that we've been trying to tell stories is with items. Amber and the team are here, and they've got this $3.88 t-shirt where we tried to take a concept that's called Everyday Low True Cost, which rather than suboptimizing just on some cost components, actually takes the costs of water and every natural resource and all of this system behind an item and get it baked into the product, and then reflect an accurate price, an appropriate price point and margin on it, and sell the heck out of it. So we're going to sell enough of these t-shirts to put them on everybody in LA and New York this year. Next year, I just heard today, we're going to sell a lot more. And we've got the CEO, Jaime Miguel, is here today. Jaime, would you stand up for a second and let us appreciate you for what you did to help create this item? The cotton is traceable to the Mississippi Delta. The water and everything else have been contemplated, and we're telling customers about it at point of sale. I hope they're taking a little bit of time when they're buying this item to learn more about what we're doing. Shared value has been a kind of a new term that we've been talking about more lately. We've had more interaction with Harvard this last year than we typically would have. They are writing a couple of new case studies about the company, and Dr. Michael Porter has engaged with Kathleen and others to try and tell the story about what we're doing here together in a different way. And if you haven't read the more recent case study, take a chance to read it. Some of you may be in it. This concept is that all the stakeholders involved in systems and in business can benefit. If you really do think like a systems thinker and about optimizing the entire chain related to how people are treated that make the products, how the environment's impacted by those things that are manufactured, how things are moved, how they're sold, how they're treated at end of life, creating closed loops whenever we can. If you really think through the whole system, you end up helping all of the stakeholders. You help the people in communities, your associates want to work for the company, you'll be able to attract greater talent. Shareholders benefit because costs come out, we get more efficient, returns go up. Literally every stakeholder that you can think of that's participating in business benefits with a shared value approach. So I just mentioned that because some of you may want to take that term, read more about that, and help us continue to evolve this vocabulary in a way that everybody in the world understands what it is that business is doing today. And if we can create that kind of environment, we'll also help create demand in the future. If these resources continue to be under the pressure that they're in, we're going to impact our businesses financially, we'll impact people and demand. Supply challenges are just going to get worse. So this is really important for today, and it's really important for the future. And I'll just leave you with one other challenge. If you're a Walmart, Sam's Club associate, you work in our company somewhere, every single one of us can do something. Merchants are making a difference. Operators are making a difference. Tony can tell the story. Every one of us can do something. Some of those things will be small, some of those things will be big, and when you add them all up, we'll achieve not only this target, but we will achieve the overall target of making the world more sustainable, and our company's playing a role in that. So thank you again to everyone who's attending. Thank you for your help. Let's go do this together, and let's beat 2030.
All right, what a great morning. If you guys enjoyed the session today, I certainly have. And I think like me, I hope you feel in your heart and in your mind inspired, re-engaged on this opportunity, excited about what we can do together, a little bit daunted by the big target and the big goal, but hopefully motivated for action, to learn more, as Doug mentioned, to do more, and to work together and to collaborate perhaps in new ways that we haven't yet thought of, or perhaps leveraging new technologies in ways that will come up with even more innovation and even more solutions for our business and for the customer. It's exciting. We've talked a lot today about the learnings and the journey, and we sure have done a lot of great things, and it's humbling for me personally to take a step back and look at all that we've done together. And I would say it's just as humbling to see you all here today and to think about what we can do in the future. And to talk about, Doug, at that moment when we achieve this, hopefully it doesn't take until 2030, that we can come back together and say we did it, and we did something really cool, and we made a big difference, and that we can be really proud and excited about that. So I'm going to look forward to that moment as well. So let's talk about what's next and how we kind of transition from here. So thank you for being here today. For those of you who are in the room, the suppliers who have traveled from literally all over to be here, we appreciate you. Those of you watching online, we appreciate you tuning into what we're doing here at Walmart. We hope you can take away some great points from today. We have many dialed in on video around the world. I want to give a little shout out to my friends in Walmart Sustainability in Brazil, in Argentina, Walmart Canada, and Mexico. You guys are doing amazing work around the world in sustainability. Keep it up, and we're so glad you tuned in with us today, and we hope that you also can take this with your suppliers in your own markets and accelerate the work. I want to do also a thank you to our NGO partners who have helped us build this content and build the program, and will help be alongside us every day to make sure we're measuring it accurately and that we're really giving us that critical eye that we need on the work. Carter Roberts, WWF, our real strategic advisor and lead for us on this work. Thank you to you and your team. Fred and EDF helped us so much along the way and is leading in several of the pillars. The Nature Conservancy, Conservation International, Sustainable Packaging Coalition. We couldn't do this without you. We appreciate your advice and your leadership, and we count on you to hold us accountable. I also want to thank the suppliers, the new commitments that were given here today that Greg talked about on the stage. Great to see some competition up here. We have many more to go. In fact, you're here for a reason. We picked a handful of our suppliers, about 200, and brought you here. And in fact, if all of you took some action, and we've done the math, Doug, we'll be about a third of the way here on the goal. So you're here for a reason, and we hope that you'll learn today, and we want you to sign up. So to that end, how do you sign up to get started? One, learn about more today. We're going to have some deep dive sessions this afternoon. In fact, lots of us are going to stick around. You know, we do like to take action around here at Walmart. We have a great afternoon of deep dives on each session with incredible industry leaders. So stick around and you'll hear more about that later this afternoon. And we want you to sign up and show your support. I mentioned earlier we have a green room. Wave your hands, green room. There's a green carpet, in fact, that you can take to the green room. And in the green room, once you get there, you'll have an opportunity to get recorded on video, making your commitment into Project Gigaton. Now, again, you might not have all the details worked out. That's okay. But just tell us what you want to work on. This is open to our associates who are here today, our suppliers, and others who are in the room. Tell us, what do you want to work on further? Is it deforestation? Is it packaging, food waste? What inspired you today? What more do you think you can do? Let's get it on video. We're also going to, at the end of the day, add up kind of all the commitments that we have. We're going to kind of recap that at the end of the day. So we'll be looking for all of you on that and wanting to share that results as we move through the day today. So hope to see all of you back in the green room so that we'll really be able to generate excitement for the initiative. So with that, we'll close it out. We're going to break if you're staying. We're going to give you lunch, but it's in the back. It's a nice low food waste lunch, and so we'll ask you to grab some food. You have about an hour, and for those who are leaving now and heading back, we appreciate you being here and taking the time. Again, this is a bold goal, Project Gigaton. We're excited about it. We appreciate you joining us, and we really look forward to the impact that we can make together. So I'll close it out with a bit of a cheer. We appreciate you guys for being here. All right, let's do a cheer. Give me an OU. Give me an A. Give me an L. Give me a squiggly. Give me an M. Give me an A. R. T. What's that spell? Walmart. Whose Walmart is it? Who's who's number one? Thank you.